I want to continue talking about the pancreas and pancreatic insufficiency. Last program, I said that there's a vitamin that's very important, and it's associated with pancreatic insufficiency. I should say deficiencies in this very important vitamin are associated with pancreatic insufficiencies, and that is vitamin B12. This stupendously important nutrient plays a key role in nerve health and brain health and in digestive health. There was an article that was published last week in the journal Gut that showed that vitamin B12 can be an important nutritional supplement for treating hepatitis C. Researchers found that significant is how they put it, significant positive effects were especially noticeable in patients whose hep C was particularly resistant to treatment. And considering that a good 60 to 65, even 70% of hep C patients are going to go on to develop chronic hepatitis C, we're talking about a very serious finding. Vitamin B12 deficiency is one of the most, if not the most important micronutrient deficiency in all of micronutrient deficiencies, and it truly is a major health crisis, in the words of Sally Pacholik and Dr. Jeffrey Stewart in their great book, Could It Be Vitamin B12? Vitamin B12 deficiency is a hidden epidemic, and as it turns out, pancreatic insufficiency can be a direct cause of vitamin B12 deficiency. In a study that was published in the European Journal of Pediatrics in 1981, researchers found that poor vitamin B12 absorption was linked to deficiencies in pancreatic juices, and replacing those juices using pancreatin improved the absorption of B12 in all test subjects. Another article that was published in 1990 in the journal Pancreas, it was shown that a malabsorption of vitamin B12 occurs in about 30% of adult patients with pancreatic insufficiency issues. Considering how hard it is to diagnose pancreatic insufficiency, how vague the symptoms can be, and how significant and important vitamin B12 deficiency is, this is just another reason to make sure that you're supplementing with pancreatin, supplementing with pancreatin-containing products, supplementing with the ultimate enzymes from Longevity. I cannot stress this enough. If you are dealing with any digestive problems, or even if you don't think you have any digestive problems, get yourself on those ultimate enzymes. The benefits are tremendous, and the benefits are diverse, including for the pancreas and now including for the absorption of vitamin B12. You can find out all about the ultimate enzymes on our shopping cart at brightsideben.com. Another important function of the pancreas involves the production of plain old baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. The pancreas pumps out sodium bicarbonate, and this sodium bicarb is very important for the absorption of nutrients from food. When food leaves the stomach and enters into the intestine, signals are sent from the intestine to the pancreas, and a big squirt of sodium bicarb, as well as other pancreatic juices, trypsin and chymotrypsin and the other enzymes we've been talking about, a big squirt of this stuff comes out of the pancreas, goes into the intestine, where it helps improve the digestion of fats, of carbohydrates, and of protein. And this is the point at which raw foods that contain live enzymes can be very beneficial. According to Dr. Howell, who wrote the book Enzyme Nutrition, the pancreas can conserve, it can save some of its enzyme power if the foods that we're eating contain enzymes, if they're preloaded with enzymes. Eating raw saves the pancreatic enzymes. It conserves the pancreatic enzymes, and this is why you want to make sure at least a certain portion of your foods are raw foods, especially raw fruits and vegetables. Chewing your food really well can also help support pancreatic enzyme activity. It can also help conserve pancreatic enzymes. If you're dealing with pancreatitis, if you're dealing with digestive problems, if you have diabetes, using enzyme-rich food, using raw fruits, raw veggies, and chewing your food can help reduce the load on the pancreas. The saliva actually contains enzymes, many of which are similar to the enzymes that are secreted from the pancreas. So just chewing your food can have a huge, huge impact on digestive wellness, once again demonstrating how easy and simple it can be to stay healthy and well-nutrited without resorting to the medical model, without needing drugs and without needing insurance companies and without needing doctors. If pancreatic insufficiency is a risk factor for malabsorption of nutrients, pancreatitis, certain forms of diabetes, even pancreatic cancer being serious problems. Anything we can do to support pancreatic health can be very, very important for health and for longevity. Chewing your food well, allowing it to contact saliva for as long as possible. Ideally, you want your food to swallow itself. You want it to just slip down your throat. Eating lightly cooked and raw veggies. These are all inexpensive ways to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself out of the doctor's office. And if you're already dealing with pancreatic issues, it becomes extra important to use some of these enzyme-conserving, pancreas-protecting strategies. All right, so the sodium bicarb and the pancreatic juices enter into the intestine. They enter into the intestine after the food leaves the stomach. Think of a car wash. As your car passes through the car wash tunnel, different liquids are squirted on the car and different brushes are activated, and one step kind of leads into the next step. One step triggers the rest of the steps. The digestive system is the same way. As food leaves the stomach, pancreatic juices are squirted onto the food. The sodium bicarb and the pancreatic juices are highly alkaline. They have a high pH. The food that's leaving the stomach is highly acidic. It has a low pH, and this acid-base combination has a huge impact when it comes to digestive wellness, which I'll talk about when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. All right, continuing on with the pancreas and bicarb, sodium bicarbonate that comes out of the pancreas has a high pH. It's alkaline. And the food that's coming out of the stomach has an acid pH. It's like an acid mash. This soupy acid mash called chyme, which is kind of like a acid liquid that leaves the stomach, when it contacts the alkaline juices from the pancreas, you get this little acid-base reaction. It's kind of like the reaction that happens when you drop an Alka-Seltzer into a glass of water. You get this fizzing, and this fizzing reaction between the pancreatic sodium bicarbonate and the acid-containing food that comes out of the stomach helps improve the breakdown of nutrients from food. It's kind of like an acid-base reaction that is used by high-tech carpet cleaners, where preconditioners tend to be alkaline and then your post-cleaning rinse is acid. When something acid or something alkaline hits something acid, you get a fizzy kind of reaction, and that fizzy kind of reaction acts to chemically and mechanically remove nutrients from food in the same way that it acts to clean carpets. If the pancreas is stressed from making too much insulin, if there's pancreatic insufficiency, you're not going to be making the sodium bicarb. That means less fizzy reaction, and that means less absorption of nutrients from food. This whole bicarbonate connection to health and wellness is something that is not really focused on, even, unfortunately, by healthcare practitioners, and certainly medical doctors don't focus on pancreatic wellness as much as they might. Without sufficient bicarbonate, the entire acid-base balance of the body can suffer too. The liquids in the body have to have a slightly alkaline pH, and that alkaline pH, that high pH, is at least partially maintained by pancreatic bicarbonate. This pH balance in the blood is very, very, very important in the blood and other fluids as well. And pancreatic insufficiency can compromise pH throughout the body, not just in the digestive system. Pancreatic issues can potentially disrupt every system in the body, even cancer. The emperor of all maladies can be related to a disruption in acid-base balance that can be secondary to pancreatic issues. In terms of the digestive system, if the pancreas is not making enough bicarb, not making enough sodium bicarbonate, not only will you not be able to neutralize this acid-drenched food that's leaving the stomach, but even more critically, you're not going to be able to activate pancreatic digestive enzymes. Trypsin and chymotrypsin, those really important protein-dissolving enzymes that we talked about last week, depend on an alkaline pH, and that alkaline pH is maintained by sodium bicarbonate from the pancreas. If you have any kind of pancreatic issues, now you're not going to be able to activate these important enzymes, and you run the risk of protein malabsorption. The same way that enzymes for the stomach are dependent on low pH for activation, enzymes from the pancreas are dependent on high pH. And it's not just trypsin and chymotrypsin, these protein-dissolving enzymes. Lipase also depends on alkaline pH from the pancreas. Lipase is a very, very important fat-dissolving enzyme. We've talked about that in the past. And if you're not making enough sodium bicarb or you have pancreatic issues, you're not going to be able to activate that lipase. You're not going to be able to activate your sugar metabolizing enzymes either. So you can see how this whole sodium bicarbonate and pancreatic connection to wellness is really, really important. In the case of stomach enzymes, there's another thing that you want to keep in mind. Stomach enzymes require an acid pH, and pancreatic enzymes require an alkaline pH. If your pancreas isn't making enough bicarb, sodium bicarb, basically baking soda, then you're going to have a problem activating, not only activating your digestive enzymes from the pancreas, but this bicarb deficiency can gum up the entire digestive works. When food enters into the intestine, it's going to sit around until there's enough bicarb that has contacted it and neutralized its acidity. So you have acid enzymes in the stomach. Low pH acid food leaves the stomach. That low pH acid food is supposed to get neutralized by pancreatic secretions, pancreatic juices like sodium bicarbonate, and then that food gets to move through the digestive tract. If you're dealing with pancreatic insufficiency and you're not making enough bicarb, and the bicarb isn't getting into the intestine, your food is just going to sit there. It's going to be waiting for sodium bicarbonate to neutralize it. Food that's sitting in the digestive tract is never, ever a good thing. Food that's sitting around in the digestive tract can become stagnant in the digestive tract. Food is supposed to be moving through the digestive tract, assimilated into the blood quickly and efficiently, and when food hangs out too long, it becomes a wonderful growth medium for bacteria. So get this. This is very, very important. Food, it leaves the stomach, it's acidic. That's because of the enzymes and the juices from the stomach. As that food leaves the stomach, that acid-drenched food, it gets neutralized by sodium bicarbonate, and that moves it through the digestive tract. If there's not enough sodium bicarb, the food is just going to sit there awaiting more sodium bicarbonate for neutralization. Food that is just sitting in the digestive tract becomes a perfect growth medium for bacteria. Now use your imagination here, folks, and picture food sitting in the intestine while it's waiting for its enzyme and bicarb bath from the pancreas. This food is being fed on by bacteria, and it's basically rotting and fermenting. Can you picture this in your mind's eye? Rotting and fermenting and putrefying food in the intestine, secondary to deficiencies in pancreatic juices. What do you think the health implications of this unsavory scenario are going to be? Rotting, fermenting, putrefying food sitting in the intestine. Well, the health implications are not good. Bacteria overgrowing on static food is basically the beginnings of every single degenerative disease process you can name. And I'm talking about rosacea, I'm talking about psoriasis, I'm talking about autoimmune diseases, I'm talking about heart disease, I'm talking hypertension, I'm talking diabetes, I'm talking cancer. Pretty much anything that can go wrong in the body can go wrong secondary to this rotting, putrefying food that's sitting around in the stomach. First of all, the bacteria overgrowing are going to activate an immune response. The immune response, that's your body's defensive response. If you have an immune response, a defensive response in the digestive tract, that can mean irritable bowel syndrome, for example. That can mean ulcerative colitis. That can mean leaky gut syndrome, where food actually leaks into the blood through holes that develop in the intestine. More immune response, this time in the blood, and on and on and on. It can spiral out of control.